Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to KSR's rapid reaction of Kentucky's 63-56 win over the Auburn Tigers. Last road game of the regular season, Cats needed to take care of business, and they did just that with the win. It was, for a lot of the game, just really ugly. It felt like it got mucked up at times, but I think the main thing to me was just Kentucky it's like Kenny Brooks said in his postgame press conference, right? They got out to a 19-point lead and just couldn't, finish them, couldn't just bury them in the dirt, right? Auburn had, basically they were laying in the casket and Kentucky couldn't slam the door on them, right? That, they started to crawl out before Kentucky finally won the game. And, Auburn ends the game and they go on a 6-0 run to end the game. And I think it was more like a 14-2 run over the last 2 minutes or so. And the thing with this Kentucky team is that, on Sunday you're about to play South Carolina, and you can't afford to give a 14-2 run against them because they'll make it up a lot quicker, and instead of a 14-2 run, that'll be a 24-2 run. All of a sudden you'll be down by 10, right, before a blink of an eye. And for me, look, it was just sloppy, and it was turnovers, right? Tony Morgan finishes the game with 7 turnovers, and I would say 5 to 6 of them were completely unforced, and it was literally, whether Auburn's pressing or she's just making a pass or whatever, she literally just throws the ball to the third row. And you're sitting there like, what in the world is going on, right? She wasn't on point tonight. I know she had 11 points, 4 assists. She was not on point at all like that. Kenny Brooks, after the game, I'm going to go find the wording so I don't get it wrong. He said it's one of the worst floor games I've seen her play. That's what he said. And he's right. That was, I think of the Alabama game was really bad, but this one was probably worse, right? Tony Morgan just couldn't do anything, right? Asia Boone is out there 0 for 6 and 3, 0 points. You can't have that from her if she's going to be in the starting lineup. And again, it was such an ugly game. And yeah, at one point Kentucky led by 19, and that's great, but 63-56 is not what the final score should be against Auburn. Okay? It's just not. That's not what it should be. And I was encouraged post-game because, I think someone on our message board on KSR Plus, subscribe if you aren't, obviously, someone was like, hey, Kenny Brooks looks pretty pissed out there on the sideline, right? And, I didn't notice that, but I feel like you could kind of get a sense of that post-game. He wasn't, fired up or anything, but again, the language he used, talking about one of the worst floor games I've seen her play, talking about you don't play to the scoreboard, how, we have to get better and we didn't get better today. To me, that's a head coach who knows, okay, we got to be, we can't do this again, or South Carolina will beat us by 40 on senior day, and your senior day, you'll go from crying about, the normal senior day stuff to, well, you'll be crying because you lost by 40 to the Gamecocks. And now you're going to the SEC tournament with a horrible taste in your mouth, right? So I don't mean to get on here and sound like Kentucky just lost by 45 points. But, again, this is an Auburn team. It's like I said, they're just not very good. And it sucks Kentucky played down to their level for really 30, 35 minutes of the game, it felt like. To shift to some of the positive stuff, right? Amelia Hassett has been Kentucky's, best, second, third, I'd say Kentucky's top 3, for sure, one of Kentucky's top 3 players for the last several weeks. Shoots 5 of 8 from the three-point line, has 15 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 blocks. That is what you need from Amelia Hassett. She's ending her, I'll say ending her Kentucky career. She's obviously still got March to go through. But, the tail end of this regular season of her senior season has been great for her. Clara Strack, who Kenny Brooks said after the game she has a cold, has the sniffles, and kind of as he was wrapping up his press conference, he was saying, "Look, you got it." Like she was like talking about Claire Strack. Kenny Brooks is like, "Look, you got to play through that. Like we need you to play through your sniffles because we're relying on you to be good." And she was, all right tonight. 12 points, 5 of 10 shooting, 2 of 4 from the charity stripe, and had 5 rebounds, 2 blocks. So not a horrible game from her, but she wasn't totally herself. Only played 27 minutes. Kind of, early in the first half, had 2 fouls and sat pretty much the whole second quarter. And again, only played 27 minutes on the night. Kentucky was actually -2 with her on the floor, right? Like when she was on the floor, Kentucky just wasn't doing good. She was actually the only player, that got in that was in the negative in the plus-minus category. And, of course, Amelia Hassett, she had +15. So Kentucky was doing great with her in. Jordan Obi, speaking of plus-minus, was 9. So good stuff from her. Kind of a normal Jordan Obi game, I'd say. 8 points, 3 of 6 shooting, 5 rebounds. And you go look across the scoreboard, like I said, Tony Morgan had 11 points. But to round out the double-figure scores, Tiani Key had 11 points, 9 rebounds, so almost a double-double for her, 3 assists and a block. But, again, this was a game that going into it, and it feels like for the last, century I've said this, but, for the last week or so, it's go take care of business against Auburn. You can't afford to lose to that Auburn Tigers team, right? 14-15 now, 3-12 now in the SEC. Like, you can't lose to that team. That's a quad 3 loss. And for a team that was borderline-ish hosting in the NCAA tournament, right? Like you can't lose to that Auburn team, and they didn't, right? At the end of the day, I think we all just kind of, I think of SpongeBob meme where he's sitting there, he's going like, shoo, right? That's kind of how I feel about this win. Like you're sitting there and you're just like, whew, like thank God they won, right? 63-56, it was uglier than we wanted it to be. Kentucky didn't score for the last 2 minutes, 17 seconds of the game, but, a win is a win. You never apologize for winning, right? Same thing with the Florida game not that long ago. Like, hey, that's you just needed to win. Speaking of Florida, they just upset Ole Miss 74-67. So that's going to shake things up a little bit in the SEC standings. I don't know if Kentucky can move ahead. I think if Kentucky loses to South Carolina, they'll be 8-8 in the SEC. I think if Ole Miss loses out, they'll be 8-8. So I think Kentucky would have the tiebreaker over Ole Miss, but Ole Miss would have the tiebreaker over other 8-8 teams. So I don't totally know how that works. I got to figure that out. Looking at my television right now, South Carolina leads Missouri 85-63. So they're going to be rolling into Sunday off a blowout win. Tennessee lost to LSU. I'm not totally sure what the final score was, or at least I think they were losing. I guess they could have won that game. They did not. They lost 89-73. They wrap up their season at Vandy. And, of course, the main other score we needed to check out was Georgia. And pulling them up right now, Georgia tips off against Texas at 10 p.m. I didn't know what time that game was, so that's going to be a late one. Alabama getting blown out by Vanderbilt. So, again, you need Georgia to lose to Texas. I think they will, but you need them to lose. And we're hoping Florida can keep that upset magic going on Sunday, and hopefully Kentucky doesn't have to play on Wednesday in the SEC tournament, right? I really, really hope Kentucky can climb up to a 7 seed so you don't meet South Carolina on Friday in the SEC tournament just days after playing them, to end your regular season. But, look, you got the win you needed tonight against Auburn, and now you go into Sunday, and, look, you've kept it close against top 5 teams all year long, and there's no reason why you can't do it right now. You've beat Louisville, Oklahoma, LSU, right? And I know Louisville's ranked number 10, and they were lower than that at the time of the game, but Louisville got up to number 6 in the AP poll this year. Like, those are teams that you've beaten. You are capable of winning this South Carolina game. I truly do believe that. I don't know if they will, but it's certainly possible. Hopefully Kentucky has some senior day magic, and hopefully they got all the bad mojo in this Auburn game. So I'm Phoenix Stevens here with KSR's rapid reaction of Kentucky's 63-56 win over the Tigers. If you've enjoyed this rapid reaction, please like, comment, subscribe, and do all those wonderful things for us here on the KSR YouTube channel. I appreciate it. Stephen Peak appreciates it. We all here at KSR appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts. What did you think about this game? Was it as ugly as I think it is? Do you think it was uglier than I thought? What do you make of the game? Does this mean much? Did they just need to get the win, and that's all that really matters? Let me know what you think. And until next time, I will see you all later. Peace out, and go Cats.